Welcome to another World of Warcraft Classic Professions gold making video, where we talk about how to make gold with different professions. Today we are covering Enchanting, a very interesting profession that kinda relates to alchemy in a few different ways, like always being on high demand, recipes being important, and having the option to get steady gold through all of Classic and getting a ton of gold early on by acquiring rare recipes. Enchanting is a really good profession to have in World of Warcraft, and especially in Classic, because you can enchant so many slots. Different enchants will be wanted by different people, plus some enchants are actually best in slot by every single class and spec out there, making it very popular both to buy and sell. When it comes to how to make gold with enchanting, there's a couple of different ways. You can farm dungeons, disenchant what you get and auction materials, or you can craft it into enchants and sell the enchants. You can also buy materials and convert those materials into enchants. You also have the option of farming rare recipes either by grinding dungeons, farming reps, or anything else really, then having monopoly over that recipe, making tons of gold by being the only one selling that specific enchant. You can also become a well-known, trusted enchanter on your server and stand in the most popular major city offering your enchanting services for tips. Whatever your choice is, there are a couple of things to consider. Raider enchants will be most popular at the launch of new raids. Twink enchants will be most popular once raids have been out for a while and guilds have taken a break from raiding, which will cause raiders to start exploring new parts of the game. Difficult to obtain recipes will sell extremely well if you're one of the first to obtain them. Raiders will have a higher chance of obtaining rare recipes since many of them drop from raids or dungeons. Guilds usually have priority enchanters who will receive the recipes first, so being on good terms with your guild and trying to strike a deal with the guild master or loot master might be a good idea. I will now talk about a few different recipes that can earn you tons of gold if you're among the first to obtain them. This is to show you what enchants are available and how you can obtain the recipes for them. I will not rank them since prices will vary depending on the type of server, popularity, the amount of hardcore raiders, and so on. Many variables, you get the point. First off, we have Enchanted Brazier Superior Stamina. This enchant the braziers with +9 stamina, and it seems to have a low drop chance from Felguard Elites, heavy junk box, or pickpocketing. Next up we have Enchanted Brazier Healing Power. This enchants your braziers with +24 spell power on healing abilities. You need Revered status with Argent Dawn to buy this formula. Enchanted Brazier Superior Strength. This enchants your braziers with +9 strength, and it seems to be a drop from Deadwind Warlocks in the Deadwind Pass. Reports on Classic Wowhead claim that this is an extremely rare drop, with an average of 8 to 10 hours farmed before getting one. Next up we have Enchanted Chest Greater Stats. This enchants your chest with +4 to each of the 5 main attributes. This seems to be a random drop from high-level elite mobs with a low drop chance. Enchant Gloves Superior Agility. This enchants your gloves with +15 agility, and you get the recipe from the AQ raid. Next up is Enchant Gloves Healing Power. This enchants your gloves with +20 spell power to your healing abilities, and it also drops from the AQ raid. There's a ton of other glove enchants with different spell power stats that drop there as well, so it's great raid for enchanters. Now we're going to go into the weapon enchants, and there are quite a few of them. First up is the Enchant Weapon Fiery Weapon. This enchants your weapon to sometimes deal extra fire damage to the target, and has a roughly 15% drop chance from Pyromancer Lore Grain in Blackrock Depths. This can be a good gold maker throughout Classic because it is quite cheap to make, and while the profit margin might be somewhat low per enchant, it will sell a lot, and therefore the profit will be because of the quantity sold. This mostly sells to levelers, and it's perfect to enchant on white weapons for speed leveling alts in certain level brackets. For example, buy a white vendor sword, enchant it with fiery weapon, and bam, you got yourself a good leveling sword. And because white weapons won't get soulbound when equipped, you can send this to your alts as well. Next up we have the Enchant Weapon Icy Chill. This enchants your weapon to sometimes slow your target, and it seems to be a world drop or a zone drop. I have seen it drop twice in Winterspring myself, and a lot of comments on Wowhead have also received it from mobs in Winterspring. Enchant Weapon Strength. This enchants your weapon with plus 15 strength, and it requires friendly reputation with the Thorium Brotherhood to acquire. This can be a fairly decent enchant until Crusader becomes affordable, and most people will enchant their pre-BIS gear with less expensive enchants, which is when this might sell well. Enchant Weapon Agility. This enchants your weapon with plus 15 agility, and it requires Honored Reputation with a Timber Hold to acquire. This enchant can be quite popular, especially for twinks in certain level brackets, and it will therefore be a big gold maker throughout all of Classic. Because it is wanted by twinks, it might not be too popular in the beginning of Classic, as I expect the twinking community to develop once people have done their primary max level content, but still, it should still be a good gold maker for both twinks and max level. Next up we have Enchant Weapon Spell Power. This enchants your weapon with plus 30 damage to spells, and it seems to drop from various bosses inside Molten Core, like Gar, Barangeddon, Lucifron, and a few others. Enchant Weapon Mighty Intellect. This enchants your weapon with plus 22 intellect, and it requires a revered reputation with the Thorium Brotherhood to acquire. Very good enchant for both casters and healers, and it also serves as a good hybrid, so druids who plan on being boomkin while in the open world and restoration in raids, or just people who want to be able to both DPS and heal, can use this enchant to benefit from both specs, both DPS and heal wise, instead of enchanting their weapon with either spell power or healing power. Next up we have Enchant Weapon Life Stealing. This enchants your weapon to have a chance to draw health from the enemy and using it to heal you. For those of you from retail, I guess you can call this a leech enchant. This has a 1% drop chance from the Spectral Researcher, aka the ghost mobs in Skullomance. Next up we have Enchant Weapon Healing Power. This enchants your weapon with plus 55 spell power to healing abilities, and it drops from Magmadar in Molten Core. This is pretty much the healing enchant, and it sells to raiders, twinks, and any healer who can afford it really. Now the last weapon enchant for today, and possibly the biggest one of all, is Enchant Weapon Crusader. This enchants your weapon with a chance to proc a lot of strength and do a massive heal on yourself. This is a great enchant for most warriors and paladins, but especially warriors since the proc also heals the user, plus the strength is really insane. This drops from the Scarlet mobs in Tyr's hand in the Eastern Plaguelands. So there you have it, tons of different enchants that all have the possibilities of earning you tons of profit. If you're the first or one of the first to obtain certain recipes, you can expect anything from 5 gold to 50 gold tips, depending on how rare the recipes are. As well as making bank on being the first to obtain these recipes, they will also sell throughout the entirety of Classic, since enchants that are best in slot at the beginning of Classic will also, to most classes, be the best in slot at the end of Classic. Also, a ton of enchants will sell really well to twinks once the twinking community starts to grow. Once you have obtained one or more of these recipes, you should definitely start farming the materials for them, as well as advertise the fact that you have the recipes and you can do the enchants to get as many possible customers as possible. Because many of the rare recipes come from raids, it would be beneficial to have enchanting on your main character, or the one you will be raiding the most on. I would still pick up skinning plus herbalism as my first professions and send all the greens to an alt, then drop skinning once I hit level 60 and pick up enchanting and send the greens back to my enchanter, since skinning is an insane gold maker while leveling, as discussed in the previous profession gold making video which covered skinning, but in the end it's all about how efficient you want to be and how you want to play. If you want to enchant your gear while leveling, by all means do that. I do hope this enchanting gold making guide was helpful to you and that it gave you some ideas of which enchants to craft and how to obtain the recipes that are of interest to you. So there it is, my enchanting gold making guide. If there's anything you feel like I missed, or if there's anything you'd like to add, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. I am planning to make videos once Classic comes out, showcasing the best dungeons to run for enchanting materials and etc. So if that's something you're interested in, then feel free to subscribe to this channel. My main focus is gold making in Classic, since making gold is what I find enjoyable in the game. If there's any other professions you want to know more about, feel free to check out my other videos in the Gold Making with Professions series as well. With that being said, I thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.